Facebook friends, you know it. Number 8 in your scorecard, number 1 in your heart, Albert Sugar Bear Barbieri. Well, like I always do when I find somebody interesting, a movie star, a celebrity, a pro athlete, I bring them to you. I'm here at the Red Rock, and of course, from time to time, I will see somebody sitting in the sports book. Well, I did today. I wasn't a huge wrestling fan, but I sure wasn't oblivious to it. And look who I found sitting. This is for all you wrestling fans out there in Facebook land. I found Greg the Hammer Valentine. Greg, say hello to my Facebook friends in South Philadelphia, South Jersey area, and from East Coast or West Coast.
My old stomping grounds.
Where
Hello, everybody.
You ever been to my hometown, South Philly?
Oh, of course. You know, back in my heyday, from 79 to 94, I was in the WWF then, and that's all we did was wrestle. Well, we wrestled all over the world, but the mainstays was Philadelphia,
the Spectrum,
Baltimore Civic Center, Washington D.C., Cap Center, and of course Madison Square Garden, the Boston Garden. That was the big area right now. Of course, we flew to L.A. and all those places, but
hold on, let me shut this TV off.
This, you know, that quadrant right there. That was the real mecca of wrestling.
So, you know, before we get into, obviously you wrestled and fought some big names like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Tito Santana and guys like that. But give us a little background of yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, and how did you get it? What made you, or what sparked that spark in you to? You're a big guy. I'm sure you were a big kid in high school or whatever. Give us a little road through your early years as a kid and how you got into wrestling.
Okay, well, I didn't get big till after I got out of high school. Then I got big, but I grew a whole lot. But my dad is a very famous wrestler, Johnny Valentine.
Johnny Valentine.
And he wrestled the likes of Buddy Rogers and all those kind of people. And, you know, all the big cities like New York and Chicago. And my dad lived in Bradley Beach, New Jersey for years. And so he was all over the place. Texas. He loved Texas. He wrestled in Texas a lot. But everywhere. And of course, I grew up in Seattle. I think I already said that, but you know, that's off at the end of the earth there.
Right.
But he brought me down to Texas. He was the Texas heavyweight champion. Took me on the road with him for 4 or 5 months. That was an experience. And then I went up to Calgary, Alberta, and broke into the business with Stu Hart, the Hart family.
The Hart family.
So they're big. Bret Hart, probably the biggest name to come out of that family. So, you know, I plugged around 6-7 years and starved to death. But finally I hit it big around 1976. I teamed up with Nature Boy Ric Flair in the NWA in the Mid-Atlantic area. And we became World Tag Team Champions for 3 or 4 different times.
Wow. Tag team.
And then I went out to New York in '79, came back to the Mid-Atlantic and broke Ric Flair's nose. And then we had a big, a lot of big fights going back and forth. Also, I wrestled a very famous Indian wrestler, Wahoo McDaniels, ex-football player. I had a figure 4 leg lock where I snapped people's legs.
That was your signature
hold, yeah.
What was it called?
Figure 4 leg lock.
Figure 4 leg lock.
Yes, so I put a lot of guys down. I put Wahoo down. I put, Ric Flair broke his nose. But Tito Santana busted his leg. It's documented. Chief Jay Strombo, another Indian wrestler, big name in New York.
Wow.
Put him down. So that was my signature hold.
I noticed your ring.
That's my Hall of Fame ring.
Your Hall of Fame ring. And
Yeah.
You're inducted.
WWE Hall was called, it's WWF, it's WWE, same thing. I was inducted in 2004.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Now, how many total matches have you been in?
Oh,
Tag
my
teams,
God.
is it hundreds?
Well, you know, there's
Ballpark figure.
Okay, there's 350 days in a year, right?
Right. 365 days in a year.
Sometimes I work twice on Sunday and
Oh,
Saturday.
goodness.
There's no way to judge it. I'm gonna say at least 300 a year for 45 years. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Did you ever mingle with Bruno Sammartino?
Yes.
He's a Philly guy.
Yeah, Bruno.
I think he's a Philly, right? Was he a Philly guy? I think he was. Yeah.
He was out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, he's out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But a favorite of Philly people.
Yeah, Bruno, good guy, great guy. Passed away a few years ago. Bruno was a friend of mine. When I came into the area in 1979, he was still wrestling, but he was commentating with Vince McMahon Jr. on the television.
Right.
I did wrestling twice. I wrestled him in Boston Garden and Madison Square Garden in New York. So I wrestled him twice. My dad wrestled him a bunch of times. My dad didn't like it.
No.
I liked it. That's a different generation, but I didn't like the wrestling because he was different. He got me in an arm bar and held me down for a while, and that's not the way I wrestle. But I did wrestle him twice. I liked Bruno.
How about Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
How did that work out for you?
Oh my God. Well, I wrestled him in a lot of battle royals. 20, 30 guys in the ring at once. But I wrestled him one time by myself in Elizabeth, New Jersey at the college there.
Right.
And I looked at the card and I go, I'm against Andre the Giant by myself. So Andre used to sit back in the dressing room and he played cribbage with Arnold Skolin. Remember that name?
No.
He was a manager.
Okay.
And he would drink 4 or 5 bottles of wine, maybe more, before he went out and wrestled. So I'm in the ring waiting for Andre. I got there first. He gets into the ring and he sits down in the corner and he looks at me and he starts laughing. He goes, "What you gonna do, boss?" And I go, it's up to you, man. I can't move you. So I remember he got a hold of me, slapped me around a little bit, and then he sat down on me. Now he's 500-600 pounds, something like that. He sat on me, and the people are laughing, and then he let a big fart. A big fart. Thank goodness it wasn't a running fart.
Right.
And he won the match. I was glad to get out of there.
Now let me ask you. Now I'm sure you've so many injuries. Can you go over some of the serious injuries that you've had over your years in wrestling?
Well,
Did you break? What you fracture? Or were you blessed and didn't?
I was blessed because I only hurt myself. I mean, I would hurt my back. Stuff that's normal, but nothing to go to the hospital with. But in 2000, I was getting up in age there, so 2000, I'm trying to think of the year, around 2010 or something, they had a big outdoor show in Chicago. And Hulk Hogan was on the card, but he wasn't wrestling. He was just doing autographs. But I wrestled. It was me and my old partner, Brutus, against the Nasty Boys. And I'm trying to think of the name of the park, but it was where they played soccer, right? Professional soccer in Chicago. So I was coming out of the ring, and the other guys had already left. So I was coming out of the ring, yelling at the fans, and the step going out of the ring broke. At the same time, it tore my quad 90% off of my knee. So it was just, I went to get, I never had been hurt like that before. So I got up and I fell back down right on my face. Took me to the hospital, and a couple weeks later they operated on me and they fixed my knee. Took about 2 years to heal, because I'm over 50 by then, right? Took a long time to heal, but I'm good now, That was my worst injury.
Can you give us your opinion as a wrestler, a pro wrestler, and give us be a critic, and what did you think about the movie that Mickey Rourke played in? He portrayed a wrestler. Do you remember the movie Mickey Rourke played in?
Well, Aronofsky, the producer, promoter, director of that movie, he's from Brooklyn, New York, and he heard I was in town, so he brought me over, and he talked to me for a while about the movie, and his first person he wanted to do it was Nicolas Cage.
And the first choice as actor was Nicolas Cage.
But he was busy, so he grabbed Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke ended up doing a great job.
Right.
So I live in Florida, so Mickey Rourke lives in Miami, and so Aronofsky invited me down to Miami to meet Mickey Rourke. And I brought him a bunch of DVDs with my matches on.
Oh, really?
So I met him, we talked several hours. Nice, very nice guy. I gave him my DVDs. He says, you keep them. And so I think, a lot of people said, Mickey Rourke reminded me of you, Greg, but he had a lot longer blonde hair in that, but the blonde hair and the stuff, and he did watch my matches, so he might have emulated me. Not imitated,
right.
but
he was nominated, right?
It was nominated for an Academy Award.
And
that was a well-done movie.
Was it well done? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They portray everything pretty much.
Well, here's what the whole thing was. He was a big star, right? And it has all these in this so-called movie. He was a big star. Then he got hurt. Then he came back, and now he's wrestling these independent shows, which I did after I left WWF. It's independent shows, not big crowds, but 200, 300, 400 people. And so that's what he did. And then he got hurt, and at the movie I think he dies. But I thought the movie was great, and they flew me out. I was living in Florida, Tampa at the time. They flew me all the way out to Hollywood, and I did the red carpet with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, really?
Roddy Piper was there. Well, I wanted to mention Roddy Piper because a good friend of mine, but we had a very famous match called the dog collar match, so a lot of people remember that. But it was Roddy Piper and my partner Bruce Beefcake, and we were all out there for the red carpet and the premiere of The Wrestler at one of those movie theaters, Hollywood Boulevard.
Now you make your home. Where do you make your home?
So now I've been in Las Vegas. I finally had to get out of Florida.
Oh, really?
I sold my home. I had a couple condos, sold those. It was really my wife's idea, because I never liked Las Vegas, because I'd always come in and have to wrestle, and I just knew about the Strip, and I wasn't a big fan of gambling or anything. But she talked me into coming out of here, so we came out here. Right. I got a home.
Are you in Summerlin? Are you in the Summerlin area here?
No, I'm right over on Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
And not far from here.
Not far.
Nice, got a nice home. I've been there almost, in December it'll be 3 years.
December, 3 years? Nice.
And I'm so glad I moved out here. I love it. I got tired of the humidity of Florida,
yeah, you can't.
The hurricanes.
Yeah,
and like I said, I grew up in Seattle. I went a couple years, I'm from a divorced family, so my mother moved to LA, so I went to Hollywood High School for a couple years in the late 60s.
Okay.
So I always loved LA. I loved the West Coast. And so I'm back almost on the West Coast, Las Vegas. So
I ask everybody I interview, when, during your time spent in South Philadelphia, did you go to Gino Steaks or Pat Steaks?
Both. Yes. Yeah, I love Philadelphia. There's that big market in downtown Philadelphia. I went there a lot.
Italian market, right?
Yeah,
Italian market.
yeah.
But,
Philly's got a great downtown, you know.
I'm sure you could knock 2 cheesesteaks out for sure, right?
Yeah, not anymore.
Not
But
anymore,
yeah,
but back in your day?
Yes, sir. Yeah, always stayed at the Marriott by the airport, but a lot of times back in those days you didn't have a chance to get out much. But later on when I went to Philadelphia and did some independent shows or comic cons, I do a lot of those. I got to really know Philadelphia, and downtown Philadelphia is spectacular.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people who are watching, especially wrestling fans, who are more educated in wrestling, would probably have much more interesting questions or curious questions to ask you, and I hope I did them well. But before you go, is there anything you want to share about your opinion about this day and age, what goes on in wrestling? I mean, I flip the channels, I watch, I see the girls in there, I see the Vince McMahon stuff. What, anything you have to say pro or con about what's going on in the world of wrestling?
Well, every time I say something, then people get mad at me because I don't like the product right now.
You don't like the product?
No.
And that's been the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
I think it started changing in the late 90s. I left in 92. It started changing, you know, they had a lot of gimmicks and stuff, and the wrestling is, you know, we used to grab holds and work holds and stuff, and, you know, I watch it occasionally, and I don't watch it now because they're in Orlando in this small arena, and they don't even have people because of this virus, but before that, when they were still in the big arenas, I would see a few good matches. But it's not the same. It's not the same. And the 80s, you can't. The 80s was the real high point.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah, the 80s was, you know, Hulk Hogan, myself, Ultimate Warrior, all these people, and Bret Hart, and Ric Flair. I mean,
how about Randy Savage? Right?
Randy Savage is another great one.
Right.
You know, it was the 80s was the real era.
Give me
that I'm from, and I don't think it can ever be duplicated. I don't like girl wrestling at all.
You don't like the girl wrestling?
No, I don't like it at all. I don't think, you know, back in my day they had the fabulous, the girl wrestlers weren't attractive, but you know, I mean, all these girls are pretty and they're good athletes, but I just don't like it. That's my opinion. And a lot of people don't like the fact that I don't like it. I'm sorry, but I don't like it.
A couple more things before I let you go, and I appreciate it. You know about the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, I met Andy Kaufman in L.A. at the Olympic Auditorium one time. I went out to dinner with him.
Was Lawler out of line what he did? He could have really hurt or killed what he did to Andy Kaufman. What do they call that dropped right on his head. I mean,
whatever
that hold that.
I can't believe pile driver.
Yeah, pile driver.
Yeah.
Was he out of line for doing that? Especially to a guy he knew it was never going to harm him, hurt him. That's almost criminal. He did it twice.
Didn't he do that on the Tonight Show, David Letterman?
No, he smacked him on the Tonight Show after. You know.
Okay, I didn't see the pile driver, but I know that he was going around with a thing on his neck.
Yeah, he did. But that's a serious thing? Ain't that? Well, he got disqualified. Ain't that move, that pile driver, not allowed in wrestling back then or now?
Well, Andy Kaufman died, but it wasn't because of that.
No, you're lucky.
He was a nice guy. He was funny as hell. I don't like what Jerry Lawler did. I don't condone that at all. The slap is okay.
Yeah, but the slap thing.
But the pile driver, you know, nah.
All right, now before you go, leaving yourself out, who would be your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
Somebody asked me that the other day.
You're kidding.
A Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say Johnny Valentine.
Okay.
That's my dad. Right?
Or let's keep Johnny Valentine since he's your dad, and I'm sure people would put you.
I'm going to put myself in there.
Okay.
And I'm going to put, not because he was a technical wrestler like I was,
Right.
but he drew a lot of money.
Right.
And he was the big guy, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
And my ex-partner, Ric Flair, I got to put him up there.
Hulk, Rick, you, and who's the last one?
Let's say Randy Savage.
Randy Savage. There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Greg the Hammer Valentine's Mount Rushmore wrestlers himself, and I'm sure people would not argue with that. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Randy Savage. Hey,
I was the 60-minute man. Ric Flair used to say that about himself.
Really?
But he was talking about something else. I'm talking about what I did in the ring. I did more hour-long matches than anybody.
Now that I met you, and like I said, you know, I'm sure somebody out there would be so envious of me sitting here with you and who was a wrestling fan to be able to interview. But I will now YouTube you and watch what I've missed in the past or remember. And I appreciate you talking to my Facebook friends. And
you're welcome, man.
Hey, and you're enjoy Las Vegas and your home here.
I love Las Vegas.
This is where you're going to live your golden years. And all the best to you. And hey, I hope you hit a slot machine one day for me.
Thank you, man.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There you have it, gang. There you have it.
Yep.
Greg the Hammer Valentine. You're there.